Hello and welcome to day 22 of 73. Today there isn't any theme per se because right now it is quite late and I'd anticipated being much earlier and posting this particular video, but alas, we also encountered a rather difficult evening today as far as bedtime was concerned with my son. And I always go back to something that I've said earlier in this whole video series is the commitment to post is always going to be there, because for me as well, it is a bit of therapy to have a space where I can not only sum up and recap what the day was like, but then also to continue in the same thread of how, things are in reality. And I know that previously there was a day 17 that I didn't post during, and it was for similar reasoning. But I think this time it is different because I had the opportunity to not only regulate my own emotions, but to also help my son be able to see what it looks like when things aren't perfect. And I always, to my observation, somehow feel like I always have to have things right because I'm setting the example and because I'm ultimately the other half of a parenting duo for our child as things stand. And I think it's also important for me to help them realize that at times I'm not always going to be at the peak of my powers, or that I am not always going to be ready with the answers or ready with the perfect kind of reaction as far as anything is concerned. So I think that this particular video is one of those buffer situations where I'm able to acknowledge that things could have gone better and we could have gotten to bed much sooner, but in the same time, out of the ore that was dug up, we are able to parse and see what the valuable bits are and are able to now apply that moving forward. And I think it was important for me to go to that place as far as showing up for someone else. And I think in that realization, it also reflects mildly on how my journey has been up until this point, where when I look back, it is easy to say that there's been 4+ years of very concerted efforts or a big body of work that I can now lean into and say that this is what I've done and I can be very proud of it. But it's also a great reminder that in those days were days like this, where it was just about putting the next brick into the wall and making sure that you're taking the next viable step as far as the journey is concerned, rather than feeling as though because the day wasn't the best or because things didn't pan out the way that you thought they would, that it would be a justification to quit or to slow down or to change your focus altogether, which it is very easy to go down that road, but it's also, I feel it gives me a lot more power and a lot more awareness and accountability to know that, yes, these not ideal circumstances are inevitably going to show up, but in those is how we then move forward and build towards the next day. So again, no theme, but very important for me to show up and to continue the journey as is. We're back in the basement because I needed a little bit of space and quiet, and we will continue regular programming tomorrow, hopefully, fingers crossed. But proud of myself as well, and very keen to put together another piece in what is arguably, in my humble opinion, turning out to be a beautiful tapestry. So thank you for your time and see you tomorrow.